And it says, Alec Murdaugh, iMessages, Maggie Murdaugh stating, quote, going to check on M, be right back, close quote. Now, who's M?
My grandma.
And this is at 9:08:58. And then at 9:10:47, there's an entry that says, Alec Murdaugh calls Buster. And it says 60 seconds long. And that's at 9:10:47 p.m. on June 7th. Do you remember getting that phone call?
Yes, sir.
What did you talk about?
Objection.
What did you talk about?
Basis for the objection.
Reacting to hearsay.
Pardon?
I don't want to open the door to anything else. I was reacting to hearsay.
Yes, sir.
I asked what the topic was, Your Honor.
Objection's overruled.
Yeah, don't say what your dad said. Just tell me what y'all talked about.
Yeah, well, we just talked about, like, hey, how you doing? And then he said that he was going out to...
What, hang on.
Well, if you could finish.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I mean, I thought he didn't want to hear hearsay, but I'm sorry, Your Honor. Go ahead.
And he was just letting me know that he was going out to Alameda to check on them.
Okay. And was this a unusual conversation you had with him?
No, sir.
What was his demeanor in the conversation?
Normal?
Had it changed from any of the other times you talked to him earlier in the day on the 7th?
No, sir.
And would he on occasion call you when he was going to check on his mother, M?
He would, yes, sir.
Was that an unusual occurrence?
No, probably one of the more regular occurrences. We all usually would make phone calls like riding in a car. So when he was riding over, it's very common for him to call.
You can take that down, Doug. So just going through this extraction from, say, 1 o'clock until what we just talked about, 9 o'clock. We did either multiple phone calls within the family. Tell the jury about the cell phone coverage at Moselle.
Not great cell phone coverage. Didn't have a lot of service, especially around. So if you were underneath the shed, at the shed, it had a metal roof. It just couldn't get any service inside of it. It was spotty around the whole property, and it had honestly gotten bad up at the house. We had just put on a new roof. Roof was metal, and just kind of hindered a lot of the phone coverage out there.
Would it be unusual for your dad to leave his phone at the house when he was going down to the shed?
No, sir.
Can't lead the witness.
No, sir. Would not be unusual.
Okay. Well, did your dad always have his phone with him when he was on the property at Moselle?
Not all the time.
Did your brother always have the phone on him when he was at the property at Moselle?
Not always on him. He would have it near him, but he's out there working on stuff and didn't always have his phone just in his hand or in his pockets or anything like that. Did
your father ever misplace his phone?
Yes, sir.
Was that a frequent occurrence?
It was.
How about your brother? Did he ever misplace his phone?
He did.
Was that frequent?
It was.
Now, there's been some testimony about Bubba.
Yes, sir.
Who's Bubba?
Bubba was our dog.
What kind of dog was Bubba?
He's a yellow lab.
And was he difficult to control?
He could be, but for the most part, no. He would listen. He would listen to Dad more than anybody else. But also, we had a gun dog shot collar that we would put on him sometimes, and when he had that on, he was
okay
on his P's and Q's.
The switching gears, another topic. When your dad, well, let me just put it like this. How frequently would your dad take a shower or bath?
He could take them. He could take them a lot. And he, working out there, if he goes outside and sweats a lot, comes back in and takes a shower.
Was that normal routine for him?
It was.
And did he sweat a lot?
Yeah, it's hot out there in the summertime.
Was he a lot bigger then than he is today?
He was.
How big was he?
Probably 6'4", 250, 260.
Right. Alan, excuse me, Buster, were you aware that your dad had a opioid addiction?
A little bit. I knew a little bit about the usage of pills.
What did you know about it?
I knew that either my brother and mom had found them at some point, and then told them like, "Hey, we found these." And I want to say the 2018 around Christmas, he went to a detox facility after Christmas, and that was my knowledge of it. Thought that handled it, and then there were a couple more times after the fact where they would kind of go into this finding pills, all that stuff, and then he did a few kind of like at home, just self-detoxed a couple times, and thought once he did that get off of them, but that was kind of my general knowledge about it all.
You thought he had beat it.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And when he was confronted about his pills, what was his attitude?
I don't know for sure because I wasn't there when a lot of the confrontations happened with them finding the pills, but I mean, I've never heard anything, just apologetic and
Right.
Sorry, and would usually be his kind of regular kind of response.
How did your family handle disputes, like disagreements?
Pretty. I mean, like adults, pretty civilly. Talked about it and stuff like that. I mean, and it just depends on the dispute too. Like,
Right.
like I was a kid. I get spanked, stuff like that. It's not really a disagreement. That's just
Once you're a teenager and college age,
right.
any reprimand or disputes you've gotten into with your father, was it all civil?
Yeah, definitely civil.
Did your father show patience with you and your brother?
Yes, sir. He would.
Was there ever any violence in the family?
No, sir.
In February of 2019, your brother was in a boating accident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.